And we're back, everyone, on the Footballer's Voice, the PFA podcast. Appreciate everyone that listened in and tuned in to episode 1. If you did enjoy the content on that, please give us a like, a subscribe to all the PFA channels. As I said, we're going to be doing some really cool episodes covering all aspects across the A-League, the Socceroos, the Matildas, the W League, and also just more profound football stories that the PFA impacts and touches. And I'm glad to say today we're in a pretty cool environment at Coe & Co AU with the founder and owner of this beautiful cafe, Nathan Coe.
Hey, bro, how you going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming.
No, Barry, it's a pleasure. This is a cool place. Great coffee, by the way, I must say.
Yeah.
Give a bit of a plug to the Coe & Co coffee. But I don't think we've really met before.
No, I think we might have met quickly with Rash.
Yeah, but I've been told you're one of the best blokes going around.
Oh, I don't know.
That's the rumour on the Victory Mill. So, thank you for coming on. This is, as I said, the PFA have been doing this podcast for a while, the Footballer's Voice, and now we're going to spin it up and do some pretty cool content. So, just with this cafe, how long have you had this for, or the franchise Coe & Co?
Yeah, so we started with a small sort of hole in the wall in Port Melbourne.
Yeah.
I think that was 8 years, last week.
Oh, really? That long?
Yeah.
So you were still playing and you had the cafe?
Yeah. So that was one thing. Playing, I was actually listening to your podcast with Johnny Mack, and he was talking about how he never got the idea to learn or keep learning while you played, and I was exactly the same, man. I remember being in Denmark, and I was like, man, these guys are they're not giving it their all. They're not just focusing on football. What's wrong with them? And then I came back to Australia and with the Victory, and I'd never thought about what I'd do after football. I always thought that I'd just keep going, and I'd keep going. And, you had Mark Schwartz and, going into a few camps with him and seeing how professional and amazing he was and how good he was doing at such an old age.
Yeah.
I thought, I've got ages to go.
Yeah.
And then, boom, one day it changes.
Man,
but I was so thankful that I came back and I started to think, and the PFA started to have those chats with you guys and us. And, I remember at the Victory, you all sat down in the auditorium, and then you'd have an old player that would come in and talk of the hardships that they had went through. And then I just started oh man, I've got to try something. It was a dream to always have a cafe. I thought I'd just open one and sit in it all day, drink coffee.
Yeah, that would be my idea of having it as well.
It was. But then I used to get my hair cut at Port Melbourne and was attached to a cafe, and there was just a little hole in the wall. And I got fairly close to Fab at Uncle Rocco's, and he helped us get in, start it. We teamed up with him for the first year, called it Rocco & Co. It's just panini juices and coffee, real simple. My brother was also in hospitality. He's been in hospitality for ages.
Crazy Damien, which you love.
Yeah, Uncle Damo.
Yeah.
And he's amazing, and how he sort of treats people in the environment, and what he brings to the cafe is something we built the rest of our business off, and that community vibe. We want people to come in and enjoy it, and come in and have a chat. Don't even have to buy nothing, but just create something that people can come and feel a part of.
Definitely. There's definitely an atmosphere in here that's just quirky and cool, and everyone says hello. It's nice, man.
Yeah, man. I think everyone has to work, or the majority of us has to work, but if we can make work fun and do have a good day while you're doing it, then why not? I think we're not here for the longest period of time.
That's right.
We've got to have fun while we're doing it.
So how long did you have the cafe stores whilst you were playing? How many years was that?
I think it might have been 1 or 2.
1 or 2, okay.
And then we opened this, I think, just as I was finishing, just as I was injured. And then we opened one in Footscray, and that didn't really work out for us. So we signed a lease and moved all of the Footscray equipment to Yarraville. That was a good move, and now we're opening 2 soon. So
how many? So fast forward 8 years, how many franchises Coe & Co around town?
So there's 3 at the moment, 3 Coe & Co's, and we're just going to launch now a full sit-down cafe.
Wow.
And a sort of healthier concept, like grab-and-go sort of style. But they've got to be up and running soon, so we're flat chat at the moment.
Oh my God, man! Yeah, there's a lot to go behind a cafe, that's for sure. So are you just involved in the hospitality game? Do you have other sort of active interests or business interests outside, or is it mainly?
This is
full on. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, we're very fortunate that it's my brother, my wife, and I. So there's a few people to split the work across. My wife and I are normally in the office, I guess you'd call it, and Damo's leading from the floor, or coaching or teaching and just interacting with everyone. But man, this feels like a full law. It feels like a law degree for me.
Yeah, does it?
I struggled at school, man.
Yeah.
And, so this has just been so much learning that has to go into it. And you know, I'm not good with numbers, so fortunately my wife takes care of that.
Yeah, does she? Yeah. That's
She's
okay.
the brains, and then we just do our thing. But it's been amazing. And I was even saying to her the other day, like, my first love was football, and I thought that's all I'd ever do.
Yeah.
And then you get to a stage where football's no longer there. And then I just said to her, man, I don't think I'd want to do anything else. Like, there's so much fun. In a strange way, it sort of feels like football because you've got a younger group of people you probably hang around with.
Yeah, there's a lot of
bit
correlation.
Of a team environment. You can muck around. You can, when I stopped football, that was the biggest thing I missed, going away. You know, you'd go to Perth, you'd have 2 nights, before
Change
the game
room,
or whatever.
like that,
yeah, chill out. Always mucking around, just telling stories, just joking around, just keeping it light. Because when you go to play, it's full.
It's full on. Yeah.
And that's one thing I found coming back to Australia. It was real, like serious.
Yeah.
And then sometimes not everyone works the best when it's full serious.
Yeah,
like, you
agreed.
see the best players in the world having a laugh.
Yeah.
About training and things like that. And sometimes it just got so strict, like so focused.
Like when you say that, what do you mean? Like what was sort of happening between the 4 walls? Like just like in regards to like the regimen of your structures or the discipline coming down from the people?
I think we'll, as footballers or as professional sports people, you have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
But it was like, for me, coming back to Australia, we started, Ange was there and he was sort of in the position of transitioning the Victory. So bringing new players in, bringing a lot of people and staff through. And the way he tactically sets up is unbelievable, but it takes a lot to get used to, especially when, it's full different to how I played overseas.
Yeah.
You weren't expected to really sweep a keep or whatever they call it. You're not supposed to really leave your box. So I was very comfortable playing that way. I'd played it for ages, for the majority of my career. Then you come back and it's playing out from the back.
Yeah, like you have to be good with your feet, right? Yeah, all his keepers.
Yeah, so we were like used to, hit a certain area over the halfway line, flick it on, do whatever overseas. Came down to like, we're going to play out from the back no matter what. And then sometimes I used to sit there thinking, holy shit, everyone's set up here. I'm trying to play out. If I was that good with my feet, I'd be Zidane or something in the middle. I'm just the goalkeeper. I'm supposed to use my hands. Yeah. But I love the challenge of it. Yeah. But it was hard. Like the first 2 years, I found it really difficult. It was completely different. But it just took me like 2 years. And like one game you might do well, the next game you might have a howler and like do shit that you would, like crazy schoolboy stuff.
Not coached to do, right?
Yeah. So it's like, you're really building a new base.
Yeah.
And it took a bit. And, I think a few people coming back to the A-League have those, transitional moments that take a while. Yeah. And it's just a different way we started to play. I think we're quite a physical league in Australia. We definitely can play football. We've got some amazing footballers, but for me it was a real change in the way we had to play. So first 2 years was a tough transition.
Crazy. Does it, given you've spent so much time with Ange and work with him, does it surprise you to see where he's at now, coaching Celtic? Like, is that surreal in a way? Because he was, brought you back to victory, and then now you're seeing coaching one of the biggest teams in the world.
I mean, I think he is one of Australia's greatest coaches, no doubt. Yeah. And I had him under 17s, under 20s.
That's right, the Joeys.
And then sort of like didn't really know where he was or what he was doing, and then came back to Brisbane and absolutely killed it. Did so well with them, and then I came back to the Victory then. Yeah. And then I just saw like how good tactically he was, how good he sets up clubs, how good he actually builds the environment in the club. Yeah. But it was strict. Yeah. But I mean, we knew what we were doing. We knew how to do it, and everything was just focused around that way. And I'd never been to a club and with a coach who was so like focused on, okay, this is the way we got to go down, and this is the way we play. Yeah. And just everything was drilled towards that. So. Okay. Whether it be passing warm-ups, anything, like even in the gym warm-ups, you're sort of preparing for yourself to go on the field. And I think that's one thing that he's exceptional at, is his tactics. Yeah. He likes to change the way he plays. I remember we went to like that false nine.
I remember that was with like Flores.
Exactly, and I'd never seen that before.
Yeah.
And then like that was different to how they sort of played at Brisbane. Yeah. And so we had a great team, but I guess it was transitioning for everyone as well, and it took a little bit, but we won in the end. But he'd already gone to the Socceroos.
That's true. Yeah, Muskie reaped the benefits, maybe. Yeah. But now you're a Brisbane boy originally, aren't you? Yeah. So did you put Brisbane Strikers is where you started? Was that the old NSL at the time?
Yeah. So I got into goalkeeping pretty late.
Really? You're quite tall. Like, what are you, 6'4"?
Yeah, I think something like that.
Towering over me, I must say.
Yeah, so I used to play on the wing, and then I had a few knee issues. Like, I don't know if I fell off my bike or something, and then after a while, like, my knee just started locking in grade 7 at school. I remember sitting down at school, locked up. I couldn't do anything with it, just like literally locked up. And then I remember walking home, everyone's mucking around with you, what's you taking the piss? You're not injured, whatever. And then it just went on for ages, and then had to have an operation, and then that was good for a bit. Then, but I don't know whether I just got a bit old and lost my speed, or whether it was a bit of the operation or what. Then I was just shit out. So I went from being okay, like being in some of those representative sides that are around your local side, and then just not really ever thinking I was play football again. And then that representative side a few years down the track didn't have a goalkeeper, or they weren't happy with the goalkeeper or something, and someone said that I'd been mucking around in goal. I think it came from my dad, because he used to be a goalkeeper in the NSL.
Okay.
Like that. And they said I was mucking around, but I can't remember it. And said, come down and try. I just went down. I had no idea what I was doing. And then I just got far enough that I got selected in that team. And then it just started from there. I think that was
really?
Like 16-ish.
16 you picked up goalkeeping?
Yeah, and then so...
That's crazy.
So we went to that tournament. I think we made the final, did something or other. And then, like, just started playing more regularly and got in, like, the QAS side and things like that. And then I would... with Johnny Mack, we'd come back. We used to go to the same school, so we'd catch the 2 buses together, walk to the training station, training ground. I'd train with the QAS, then I'd do a double up and train with the Strikers a few days a week, and it was crazy. And then I went to the AIS, which was a big, really massive shift for me. I think like we had an amazing goalkeeper coach down there, Paul Jones, and we had Stephen O'Connor. Was amazing, and that thing was just like, for me, that was like my first experience in
like elite training.
It felt like a team, like a professional environment, beautiful facilities, the coaches were amazing, all of that was built in and around it really gave you that feeling that you are overseas in a club and things like that.
Correct.
And it's a shame it's still not around today.
Man, that's changed my whole perspective on football. Like, just the way I was sad to see it go. I understand why they've gone down the path of, like, focusing on the youth teams, but definitely for anyone that's been involved in that environment, they say the same thing of, like, how critical or important it was to their career. That was,
and I think because it was hard as well. I think I went there like towards the end of 16 or middle of 16. I don't know when my time frames were all wrong. But man, I was there for a year, and it's like you're away from your family. It's probably your first time you've lived away from your family. It's close enough that we were from Brizzy, we could fly in and out, whatever. We'd get to go home twice a year, but you have to wash yourself. Food was all provided for, like that kitchen and everything. But it started you doing the things that you got to do in real life.
Like fend for yourself. Yeah, that's what I always said to people. Like, because I was there at 15, it's like I just grew up quicker.
Yeah,
had to wash my own clothes. Had to figure out what I was doing. Had to make my own decisions to be there at this time. And
100%.
Get myself to places. Be professional. Yeah,
and I think going then forward when I went overseas, like I moved overseas to Italy, and then I was fortunate enough to live with Carl Valeri. And thank God for that, because he could speak Italian. I had no idea what I was doing, and it was tough. But because we were there together and he could speak Italian, oh my God, it was such a smooth.
See, this is what's amazing about Nathan Coe's career is the particular start. I mean, you had an incredible career, really, when you look at it across the whole. And it fascinates me because you made the tiniest jump from Brisbane Strikers to Inter Milan. And I've been trying to rattle my mind around how that's possible, but that must have been an enormous jump and like opportunity for you as a kid. Yeah,
100%. Because how it happened is we had an under-17 World Cup. Right. And I remember trying to qualify for that. That must have been under-20s. Yeah, under-17, we went away, Trinidad and Tobago. We're sitting in the hotel like a day or two before the World Trade Center comes, hits, and a lot of our families were travelling through.
Oh, no way, because you have to go to America to get to the Caribbean.
So we were like, getting ready, getting strapped, getting our gear on in the hotel, ready to go out for training, and then someone's like, the plane hit, and someone's like, another plane hit, and like, what the hell? And then it was just manic, because a lot of the families were there, because it was like a few days before the start of the tournament, so I think a few of the families missed the kick-off for the tournament, things like that. But man, like, that just went well, and we had a good team. We played Brazil, and I played well. And then I think we got to the quarterfinals in that tournament. Nigeria knocked us out.
Okay.
And then from there, Carl and I were like selected in the team of the tournament.
Oh, wow.
And so then he'd already signed, I think,
For
to go
Inter?
to Inter, yeah. And I had a few different options, and I didn't really want to go there because I thought, it's too big. I'm only new in football. Like this,
Well, how long had you been goalkeeping at this
probably
point?
like a full year and a half.
Oh
maybe.
my God! And he's got signed by Inter Milan.
And then I was like, it's too big. I don't want to go there. And so then Empoli were interested. I went to Empoli. Supposed to be like a week's trial or whatever it's called. I went over there, got sick, and ended up being there for like three weeks. Even then, that was hard because I couldn't speak any English.
Yeah.
Like I was just fending for myself a little bit.
Yeah.
But then in the end, I came back and I had the opportunity to sign, but some shit, agents that fighting and all that. Anyway, it didn't work out. And then I had an opportunity. Auxerre came and they were like in the Champions League at that time, and they were like to Brisbane, hey, we want to sign this. We want to sign me. Can you come over and have a look? So then I like put Inter on the back burner a bit, and I was like, hey, yeah, no worries. Went over for a week. I got told that there was like the coach wanted to see if I was good enough to be second or third goalkeeper at that time. And then
who's this for? Is this for
Auxerre in
okay.
France?
Okay.
And so at the time, Djibril Cissé was there. I remember.
No way!
Yeah,
That's crazy.
But I went in the off season, so they'd all I think they're coming in and out of their holidays and things like that. So then did a week, sort of got to the end. They're like, yeah, okay, we'll sign you, and then went home, and then it just started getting closer to the transfer period ending, and this was when the A-League was stopping. So I finished the season with Brisbane Strikers, and then that was it. It was like coming down to it. So then I started to get to a point where I was like, I don't want to go to the NPL, the NSL or whatever it's called. I have to do something. Tried to push it as long as possible. Then I had to make a decision, and at Auxerre they needed to sell a few players because there was the visa issues. I was fortunate enough at the time that in Italy it opened up to anyone who's 18. If you had a contract, you didn't have to have any special passports or anything.
Right.
So if you had a contract and you're 18,
So that was your golden ticket.
Yeah, because I don't have any passport. So that was one thing that stopped me from going to England or something. So then ended up having to make a decision. It's coming towards the end. Like I didn't want to stay in Australia. I didn't have anything to do there. So I just sort of pushed it as far as I could, and then I had to make the choice and decided to sign with Inter. Went over with Carl, and that was amazing, but like the AIS really did prepare me for the next step.
Like that elite professional training. Because then going off, following Inter, you went to PSV as well. So it's like your induction into football is like two of the most elite footballing clubs ever.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a big learning experience. Like I had to learn Italian. The first year I didn't like Johnny. Didn't want to learn at the start. And then I don't know. I just realised I have to start. Otherwise, I'm gonna get left behind. Like in training, they'd say something. I'm like then running around trying to find someone who could then translate it to me. Like, and then what I found out, once you do put in the effort, they can speak a bit of English.
Right.
So like then the second year, everyone was trying to speak English to me because I thought it was
really?
good. And I'm like, dude, where was this at the start?
Year one.
I just needed like
So who was there? What
this.
players were at the club at this time? Like,
so we're in the Primavera, which is like the youth squad. We had like Martins, who ended up breaking into the
Martins.
team. So we used to live sort of together with them.
That's crazy.
But the squad there, and this was one thing that was just mind blowing as well. Like every few months, you'd see some new guy come up because how they set it up there is the training centre for the Primavera is, and the first team is away, sort of like out of Milan, maybe 30, 40 minutes. So we'd all meet at the youth team grounds, we'd all get a bus, or people would drive, and then we'd come back. And so you'd be there with all the first team, and it's like, people would keep coming every few months, and you're like, is that guy part of the first team again? And it's
That's
like
crazy, man.
Their list or their roster's massive, and they do the things where, you half sell players, you loan players out, you do all this. But like there's like, Francesco Toldo, Christian Vieri, like I think Ronaldo had just left, like Adriano, it was like Recoba, and like Materazzi. There's like so many amazing players. Javier Zanetti, like the one who's been there forever. So the squad was amazing, and anytime you got to like a few players would drop down and play with us when they're coming back from injury, or if they needed numbers, you'd go up and train sometimes. and just seeing some of the players, like, you know, you get told, oh, you got to work on both feet. You see Rakoba, he's only got left foot, but it's the best left foot in the world. You don't need one.
Yeah,
you don't need another
man.
one. And so you're sitting there going, okay, like, I've been told this, but then I see this guy, and he's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
he can get by. He's so good.
Oh my God! And just the level, and just the importance that, like, the first team players, and even like Martins, who was coming through, the importance that the people of the city put on the players there is like next level. Like,
yeah.
You know, at the gate where you get let in and out of training, people are lining up, people are watching.
Crazy,
you know, it's awesome. It's an amazing experience, but I found it so tough at the start, like really, really tough. And then, you know, living a fair way away, and coming back in mid-season and then Christmas break. Fortunately, we had the Christmas break. All you'd want to do is get home straight away. And then looking back at it, you're like, I should have travelled. I should have done a bit more. I should have had more fun over there. But I think because you're so young and you miss your family so much, you just wanted to get home. But, I mean, I would never change anything.
So when you went to PSV, were you there on a first team basis?
Yeah, so I'd signed. I think I played at the under-20s, and I think PSV then were interested, and I had to get out of Italy. Like, I had a few injuries. It wasn't going the way I needed it to go. Yeah. Didn't play enough that I wanted to, and then got the chance to move, and fortunately, like, I was with the first team as well, and I just thought, like, this is awesome. You know, in Holland, you're known for sort of, it's not the biggest league, but it's known to
very respected,
and also like teach people how to play. Or, you know, they want to play football. Yeah. So that was awesome for me, and going to the PSV at the time was amazing. Like, that team was next level. It was crazy. Really? So we made the semi-finals of the Champions League one year.
No way.
We played AC Milan. I think got knocked out like at our home. Like, you know, you play home and away.
Second leg at home.
But it was awesome. Like, we had like Alex that ended up going to Chelsea and PSG. We had the goalkeeper was Gomez, who ended up playing in Tottenham. And
Watford.
And like, honestly, I don't know which players were part of which team, but we had like Mark van Bommel, Philip Cocu, like he captained Barcelona and shit like that.
Yeah,
Jefferson Farfan, Ibrahim Afellay. Like, we had the first year, I think, it ended. Ji-sung Park signed at Man United. Wow. Johan Vogel went to AC Milan. Gomez went to Tottenham, I think, after the second year or something. Young Pure Lee, the other Korean, went to Tottenham, I think, via Wolfsburg. Like, it was just ridiculous. And that's probably where I got to learn the most, because I was in and around the first team all the time. And you could see like what it took, and the different types of characters. You know, some are really outspoken, some are much more quiet. Some of them are so like only football, and some of them aren't. And there's so many different ways to actually.
It's the most fascinating thing for me in the change room is how everyone's so different. But
100%.
Everyone's kind of, as soon as they cross the white line, everyone's the same. And like competitive, need to 100%. Win, need to fight.
And I think that's something that, for me, I could always take from everyone. I feel like maybe starting goalkeeping late, I had to just learn from everyone. Like,
as much as
people who I thought were the best, people who I thought weren't the best, people in the middle, and I just tried.
But so what I've always been interested with your story as well, because I feel when you moved to after PSV, which I think PSV might have even won a championship in Holland when you were there. So it was like, it wasn't like an average team. It was like the best team in the Eredivisie.
Yeah, I think we won the league twice and the cup twice or something in the few years. And then we got like Arch came. Arch did a 6-month loan. Jay Scalina signed. So it was good because we had a few more Australians there.
That would have been good.
And that made life a bit better. Moving to Denmark, it was like the next step. I just felt like I wanted to play, and there's certain points in my career where I knew like I've got to leave now. And sometimes it didn't work and sometimes it did. But I knew like, okay, I've been to Italy. I never got close to being in the first team. PSV, I could be in the first team, get a little bit closer, learn more. And that's where I learnt, I feel, a lot. Yeah. It was also, our head coach was Goose Hiddink, who's amazing as well. So like that was next level. We had a great team and everything like that. So I started learning. Next step was FC Copenhagen. And there I was sort of brought to fight for the position, I guess, whereas I was third in PSV, then second at Copenhagen. The goalkeeper there got a few injuries, and then I played a few games, but then went on loan to Sweden, and it's just non-stop. As a goalkeeper, you don't get to play much. Not then anyway. Now it's so good that you see so many younger players playing because there's this mentality that you'd have to have experience. But where do you get experience if you
don't play? Yeah.
Playing in the second team on a Sunday morning when you played in the big stadium on a Friday night and sat on the bench or Saturday night. It's not the same. So it's tough, and train. You just keep training, but it is really tough. Like having the understanding that not everyone can play, and a goalkeeper you can't get 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, half a game here and there. You just need to sort of bide your time, but it sucks. You don't, you want to play.
Did you struggle with it at all? Like the mentality of like having to wait so long, like years I'm talking as well, not just like a few days.
And I think like I don't think I'm that. I think I'm a bit impatient in certain things. And one of those things. But then everyone says you got to be patient. But it doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah. Okay.
And like you feel like you're doing the best you can do, but the times aren't coming. But I guess everything works out in the way it's meant to work out. And so then you get to play, and then that's when you want to play all the time. You don't want to let anyone play, even a half of a friendly or things like that. Because you want to play. You want to make that most of that time that you've put all your effort in, you've done your apprenticeship, and you feel like it's time to play.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's where I did get to play in Denmark, and we had some amazing years. I probably spent 5-6 years there, maybe.
Yeah, you guys, because Copenhagen had won the championship too when you were there.
Yeah, got in the Champions League a few times. I played in Europa League and that sort of thing.
That's crazy, man.
And that was amazing. And one of the things I guess I was really fortunate enough, I kept going to teams that were winning or fighting to win, like really high. So like, I didn't play many games, but I got a few medals somewhere.
Yeah, I know, right? But, like big European medals. Like, that's crazy.
And so I think that sort of built that, like, you want to win, and that's one of the things that when I did come back to Victory, I wanted to bring, and we got there in the end, but I didn't get to play.
What was why did it feel right to come back to the A-League when you did? Because what year was this? 2012, 2013, I think. Yeah, I think it was around that time because Ange was obviously it just kind of started out there.
Yeah, so I'd been in the Socceroos then for a bit, and been to the Asian Cup. Yep, we've lost in the final to Japan.
That's right.
And I'd got a little like injury sort of thing during that time, and it's like my knee's like glass. There's that many operations on it. But it's just driving me insane, and so I didn't want to stay at the club I was at in Denmark. I wanted to move. I think I felt like I needed to keep pushing to try and cement my sort of place in the squad in the Socceroos. But in the end, like things just didn't turn out. It got pretty late into the season. I was still doing rehab actually. Just up in Brisbane by myself. The Raw were looking after me a little bit, helping me out get back. And then I always had the mindset, all that shit was still over in Denmark, getting ready to move to the next spot in Europe. And then just sort of kept dragging on. Things kept falling over. And then Ange just said, like, we need a keeper. And then I think it was like three or four games maybe in to the season. And I was like, it's
a good time.
Coming back to Australia, I didn't think I was going to be there. But then having Victory come up where, they had the most supporters, the great stadium,
it's a
all
great
that
platform.
Ange bringing and building, that was like, okay, that's awesome. And then I got there and it was pretty tough to start.
Yeah. So how old were you then? How did you?
Oh man, I don't even know. I think I was. I was 2.5. I think I stayed 2.5 years there. Yeah. And I think I finished 31-ish.
So because you achieved so much so young, and when you came back, like 28 in goalkeeper terms is still very young.
Yeah.
Which is probably why you can bide your time for a period of time and still have such a long career playing.
Yeah.
But like your time at Victory was insane because Victory at the time, the A-League at the time, and I think the A-League's starting to get back to that now, but the A-League at the time was such a good league.
Yeah.
Like the quality of imports, the Australian players, the Socceroo players that were still here.
Yeah, 100%.
Like players like yourself were coming back to the A-League at a good age. Do you know what I mean?
And also Holger was also picking players from the A-League.
Yeah.
Like Archie was getting back in the squads. Millsy was there. Like there was a fair few, and it felt like it was like a good place to be at the time. Yeah. I mean, we had some big players that Ange brought in as well that you keep continuing to learn from. But I think we needed probably more time with Ange to build. Yeah, but
definitely.
It's hard. The A-League's hard. Everyone wants a win super quickly, and that's why you probably don't see teams and the way it's structured with the salary cap. You don't see people building for a long period. It's like in and out. Yeah, I think that's a bit sad because you see a lot of the younger players jumping around. Even the older players at the end start jumping to teams, and as a supporter as well, you want to feel and you want to be passionate about the players that are involved in the team. And I think it's becoming a bit like the NBA.
Yeah,
you can be come and gone super quick.
Yep.
You know, back when I used to love football, like I used to follow Man United, and that 92 era, whatever
no one left really.
Yeah, it was just they were there. Even in Italy, like same players were always at those places, and so it was like you could really I love that team because they've got a good core, or these players
feel.
Yeah, so I think. That's one thing I think in the A-League I'd love to see change. It's just try and it gives a coach a better go at it.
Yeah.
So
And this is the thing I always say, there seems to be like a high volume of turnover every year across the small leagues. There's a lot of players coming in and out of the A-League.
100%.
That aren't, like, for instance, you've got this coffee chain, but a lot don't have stuff like that, or are younger.
Yeah.
So and maybe not financially set up to be able to invest in things. So 100%. It's like, man, what do you do?
Yeah. And, it's a hard... I loved it. I would never have changed anything I did, and that's the one thing I got to live my dream. But it's not easy. Like, it's a short period. Australia is not the NBA or the Premier League where you're getting paid enough that you got a few years to sort yourself out, and you're not a big enough profile here that you can definitely go and do media. Not everyone's going to be doing that. And that's not for everyone.
Yeah.
So, towards the end, I felt like I don't want to be just football. I don't want to be just into football. So I pretty much, when I got injured and stopped, I probably didn't watch football until Archie retired. So I went to that game where it's like his last game.
Wow.
But apart from that,
it's a few years apart, man.
Man,
I did the same thing.
Yeah. But it was just like, giving my life to that for the moment. I can't even do it.
Yeah.
I don't really want to
away.
be.
It hurts in a way. It's
and that was the year we won the champions. We became champions, and then went to Vegas.
Oh man!
So it's like the one thing I wanted to do the whole year. I think I got to about 4 or 5 games, broke down with injury, didn't get to play all the fun stuff and the stuff that.
So you didn't play in the finals? No, nothing.
So I think we went. I remember my last game. We went to Wellington.
Yeah.
You go a day before. No, you go 2 days before. I think you train one of the days, and my back was a bit tight, and just started training. I was like, there's something wrong. Stopped a bit before the end of the training. Just, thought I'd give it a go in the game. Warming up, I think, should I play? Should I not? Fuck, my back's not that good. Played, and then in the warm up, I just dived, and I thought, that was a bit weird. Then the first shot comes, sort of thing, dive, and then I think, that's a bit weird. Really struggled to even yell. I mean, as a goalkeeper, you're yelling all the time.
Like talking was hurting.
So it was just bizarre. And then got to half time, and then physio gave a little rub, fixed it up a bit, went out the second half. It feels all right. Had to make one save. It was all right. And then literally this shithouse, real slow molly grubber came in, and I just scooped it up. But then I couldn't get up. It was like someone had hit me back down. Oh. And so then I was like, that's weird. And then the physio came on, I said, did a bit again. I think I can play. I think I'll be all right. Then, the same sort of thing came on. I just tried to pick it up, and I didn't go down this time, I think. But then I went to throw it after, and I was like, man, there's something so wrong. So then I had to come off, and then came off, and then even that was.
Is that your last game ever?
Yeah, but I didn't think it. I was like, I always had this thought, and that's probably getting back to how I thought I'd play forever. I just thought, no matter what, I'll just keep going. It doesn't matter.
As a goalkeeper, I can play time forward.
Yeah, even when contracts was finishing, no problem, I'll find somewhere else. I'll go anywhere, I'll do whatever I had to do. And then, I gave it a week, and we were playing, I think, on a Friday night. And so I went out on Thursday, the day before the game, and I just, tried to do a warm-up running around the field, and my foot was just
Yeah, I heard a story. For everyone listening in, Nathan Coe obviously had such an amazing career and was a part of the championship winning team at Victory. I think it was in 2015, 2014. Which, by the way, I just want to acknowledge that team on paper. Holy, probably the best team I've ever seen in the A-League on paper.
Even the year before we had
I was always
couldn't. Yeah,
you guys had from your starting 11 involved. I think it was Berisha, Ben Kalfala, Barbarousis, Milligan, Valeri, Delpierre. Do you know what I mean?
Barbarousis.
Yeah, it was just crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, Troisi was there. Finkler was obviously there at times. It was
such a
Socceroos,
good
all Socceroos or international play. It was so hard.
Yeah.
But there's a story, and I wanted to ask you if it was true, because this is what related to your career-ending injury. was that apparently you were doing, and this has come from a Victory teammate, so if it's wrong, we're going to put it on him. But apparently you were doing like a goal kick before the game, a day before the game. I don't know if this is on your timescale, but you went to kick it, and you were hitting a long ball to Barisha to flick on to the wingers, like Muskie wanted you to do it. And you either kicked the ball or you miskicked it and you fell over.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what? Like started laughing, and even you started laughing.
Yeah.
And then you went to do it again and you fell over again. Yeah. And you just said you lost all feeling in your foot.
So like, I don't know, I felt like it wasn't 100% when I went out to training, but then just started running around the field and I was like, my ankle was literally like it was floppy, and I was like, that's weird. I was like, oh, physio, can you just strap up my ankle? I feel like if you give me some support, I'll be all right. So then taped it up, and it wasn't very good. But then we'd go. Then when we went to play out from the back, you know, your shape and stuff you do, and so I'd do this thing where I'd have to take a quick goal kick or whatever. So I did about 4 or 5 times, and every time I'd slip, like, and it was even throwing. Or just rolling the ball, like I'd go to plant my foot and I'd just like give way. And Arch was the one who's like, what the fuck's going on? This is fucking stupid. What are you doing? Like taking the piss. And then after a while, they just go, man, this is stupid. Like you can't kick, can't do anything. Just stop. So then that was it. From that day, it was like done. And then,
did you realise the severity of what was happening?
Nah, because I'd always had heaps of injuries, I think. And my mindset was just, I'll just be back. So if the doc says 6 months, I'll just be back at 6 months. But I was so naive to think it. And like, so then I had to go and get scans. Then we did like some injections. There's like this whole path that we went down, and every time it was like one step. I was like, okay, no worries. I'll get that step done, and then I'll be back. That step didn't work, so then I moved to the next step. And every step along the way, I just thought, don't worry, it's going to come. To the point where I think they said, you can probably start doing things around 6 months. I got to 6 months. There's nowhere near ready. I couldn't even do it, but I still thought maybe 1 or 2 weeks. And I'd just get back into it. And then come like a year later, I had to have another surgery. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't know, just never crossed my mind that was it. Yeah. And then after the second one, because I'd like literally walk our kids to school, maybe 400 or 500 metres away. I'd get to school. On the way back, as I was entering like the door, so maybe like 400 metres, 800 metres, and my foot was I couldn't do anything. And then I just got to the point where, okay, this isn't working. I started to be like, this is going to impact how I play with my kids. Everything. So then I got to the point where I had to have another surgery. And then...
So at this point, did you know when you're going through this, like because obviously you're talking about your ankle and your foot feeling numb. Yeah. Did you know it was related to your back or that it was...
Yeah, in the end,
But how long did it take to get to that point? Like, was it you seeing everyone, specialists, surgeons, to try and figure it out?
I think it just came, like, it was just because the nerve got damaged, so it came with this drop foot. Yeah. My disc had sort of slid out and it'd come out. So, man, we had the first surgery and they removed some of the disc, so they made some space so the nerve could fire properly. And so then I thought, okay, no drama, I'm good, I'll be right. But then, you know, that 6 months calm, and then you take your kids to school still, and like, man, this isn't right. Like, there's no way I could even walk. Okay. Yeah. So then I think, okay. Then went back to the specialist, got the second surgery, and then I started to think, you know, it's not going the way I wanted to.
Were you still on contract at this point, or had you already sort of left Victory to figure out what was wrong? Or?
I think that last year was my last year.
When you won the championship?
Yeah. Yep. And so, like, I just thought I'd play again. In the end, like, I remember Muskie sat me down, just said, you know, like, we're not going to re-sign you.
That must have been a hard conversation, hey?
I mean, what he said was 100% true. Like,
yeah, but just the reality of, like, you know, you're 30 years old. Yeah. You know mentally you got more to give, but you can't.
Yeah, and I think one thing that was, it's weird, but I honestly feel like that was the best way for me to finish my career.
Really?
Oh, man, I just think, okay, that was it. Done and dusted.
Black and white.
Like, yeah. Otherwise, I don't know what I'd be doing. Like, and, you know, that I never thought it would come like that, but then when it came, it was like a big shock and everything. But I was just like, and I guess having that injury for like 6 months, it's like, okay, you sort of start moving away from having to get, because I wasn't really going into training. I'd go in to watch games, I'd go into say get A, but I wasn't having to get up in the morning, get to training, do prehab, rehab, sign in, do all that stuff. Yeah. The club was really good in that way. They sort of just let me do what I needed to do. Space. Yeah. I could bend my knee like to 90 degrees and that was it. And that was like, I'd go training, we'd train hard at Victory. I'd go home, and you know the game ready machine? Yeah. That was like my best friend.
Oh, really? Just on that all the time?
Oh, my God. So I'd come home from training, then I'd just lie on the couch all day and just make sure I've got shitloads of ice, just ice my knee up until I go to bed. Like, I wouldn't even go pick up groceries or something because my knee would just blow up.
Jesus.
That sucked.
And then you'd have to come back into the club and brave face like, yeah, I'm good.
But, I just thought that was it. That was my body, so I just could deal with it. But, man, I remember sometimes like a shot would come and it'd have to be this weird angle and my knee would and I'd just shit myself because I know that if it went in a certain way, I'd probably have to have another surgery.
Mental effect of that.
And
So
then,
how long
themselves when I do this weird laugh.
how many years after the game did it kind of still bother you, I guess, the whole situation, or did you come to peace with it and terms with it pretty quickly?
Oh, I think because I'd had so many injuries and had to deal with missing so much football, I don't know. I guess I honestly don't know. I just sort of like, no doubt I had shit periods, and probably that's why I didn't watch at the start, because I didn't want to be, okay, like there's your team playing, there's the league that you're playing in, but you can't even do anything to do it. Like, so I just sort of started getting more into the cafes, starting to work that, starting to learn more. And it was a massive, massive shift because all I did was football. Like even when overseas, I'd train, come home and get on YouTube and try and find new techniques or new ways or new things to do for goalkeeping ways. And it was just non-stop. And looking back, it was probably like the wrong way to go about it for me, because all my mind was football.
Yeah, that's why I thought it'd be hard for you when you don't come out on your terms, and everyone's prone to be that way when you're playing at the highest level. It's like, how do you separate who Nathan Coe is from the goalkeeper to the cafe owner? Do you know what I mean? It's not easy at first.
Nah. And I think that's why as well. I just like, okay, football was there. I've done that. Yeah. I want to try just do something different now. Yeah. And like I did try and coach. So I coached Bentley for 1 or 2 seasons, but that's not where my love is. Man. That's not my love. Yeah. So
did you have much interaction with the PFA, particularly with around the injury, like sort of that crossover period?
Not huge amount. Like Simon Klossberg was there, and the PFA did help, like when I needed it. But I probably didn't understand the role of the PFA that well at that time, because overseas I never really, actually until I got to Denmark, I only sort of started to have a relationship with it. Yeah. And from there, I didn't really understand what the actual role was. Yeah, it's so superior in this country to, I think, a lot of players' associations. Yeah, because when I was there, I mean, I didn't fully use it to my advantage either, because it was a little bit of an unknown. I feel like now it's much clearer to people of how well resourced and how they can support you, particularly through stuff you would have gone through. Yeah, so much so. I mean, and that's the thing I think we all struggle with coming out of football, whether it's your decision or not. Yeah, it's hard because it's such an industry that has a time frame for you, whether it be you're playing, you're coaching, you still have a time frame, like, and it's hard that it's going to come to the end, but when, how, and where, you don't even know. Yeah, like, I was probably fortunate that it all happened in Australia, because then I could start something. Yeah, that's true. I was already here, like, and we're not from Melbourne, but we'd been here for 2 years or 2.5 years, so we'd had something to build on. That's why I think having the A-League the way it is, it is tough, because if you have to continually move, you're from Melbourne, you go to Perth, build a life. Yeah, then you're there for a year. You go to Brisbane for 2. You're jumping around. You don't have that time and the network of people, or even just an understanding of how you can build it into a community. Like, man, if I was jumping from state to state, club to club, in the end of your career, you don't have any sort of home to build it. And I think that's what's tough as well. Yeah, because Melbourne, once we knew we were going to stay, we could build here. Yeah, you can make plans. Yeah, so I think that's one thing that I don't think I would have been able to deal with very well unless this shit happened. So that's why I think it's fortunate. Do you can you flick on the TV and watch a game of football now? Like, it doesn't bother you as much? Because I was like you when I came out, man. I could never see myself doing this, talking about football, interacting with people I played with. Yeah. It's the last thing I wanted to do, because I just wanted to rediscover who I was and 100%. Have a different identity to a footballer. But are you able to do that now, or? I don't know if I've watched a full game really. Really? Still. Nah, but I like talking about it. I like talking about it with people. But I don't know that much about it anymore. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah. But then all I remember was watching football. It's true. You get exhausted by it. Eating for it, sleeping for it. And so now I'm enjoying not having to be so deeply involved. That's cool, man. I mean, maybe one day I'd do something, but definitely not coaching. Yeah.
But you're right, like in the sense of what you're doing now at the cafe, a lot of probably the traits of what makes you guys good at what you do and the service and the way you guys work behind the scenes is probably, I mean, fundamentals you get from being a footballer. Like, you know what I mean?
Man, there's so many life lessons that I think football, professional sport teaches you that I don't think you get taught anywhere else. And I think it's such a short window that you have to just start learning. Like, you have to just find out for yourself, and if no one's told you, you just pick it up, or you know, an older teammate might be able to help you with certain things. I mean, that's the thing. I think because it's such a tight knit, you're in the training room, you go out, you go onto that pitch, and everyone's yelling at you, and you're playing together. That there's so much that you can learn from each other, and some people are like at the end of the career, and some people are young and just starting. So there's so many valuable lessons that you can learn in that change room, but it has to be the right change room as well.
Yeah, of course. Man, it's crazy. It's been a crazy podcast, Nathan Coe, honestly. Learning about you. I've been aware of, like, your story and obviously the back issue. I don't know if people really understood because you kind of, left the game quite silently in a way, but, like...
Still not retired, bro.
Yeah.
Might come back.
Yeah, but, like, how big it was, like, life change. Like, there's those injuries that players have, and then there's the injuries that, like, they actually affect how you walk and move and talk and who you are off the field. And I feel like that was one of those that people needed to hear the story of. So.
Man, it's crazy. You don't realise how much your back impacts you.
Yeah.
It's just, it is what it is. But we move on. And many people have had a lot worse injuries. And I mean, I'm thankful that it happened in Australia, and just see what happens next.
Yeah, man. Well, awesome to have you on the second episode of the Footballer's Voice, the PFA revamped podcast, everyone. Please give us a subscribe and a like if you like the content. The story of Nathan Coe is going to be shared. Powerful story, man. You had an amazing career, although cut short on your terms. Like, you've still played 13, 14 years at the top.
Yeah.
Socceroos, Inter Milan, PSV, Melbourne Victory, championships in Denmark and Holland. It's pretty crazy, dude. So
it was a fun time.
But thank you for sharing your story, man, and
Thanks,
coming
bro.
on.
Appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome. Cool.